do what you do? Why do you get up every day? Why do you get up every day and be tired? What is your why? Because if you figure out your why, even when you don't want to do it, you'll still do it because you know your why. And so
Yes.
that's what I challenge individuals to find and search within. Figure out your why. And then when you do find your why, ask yourself why about 4 more times so you can get to the real root of your why.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's real easy to be like, well, I do it because of this. Well, why do I do it because of this? So just kind of dig deep to figure out why you are who you are. And if you don't like what you come up with, then change it.
Period. Hey, y'all, and welcome to Let's Talk Sis. I'm Shekinah, your host, and as we spend time together, I can promise you 3 things. I'll be honest, I'll make you laugh, and I won't hold back. Let's Talk Sis is your essential girl talk destination where you'll hear about life from the perspective of a Black woman in America, as our stories often go untold. I can assure you, while honest, we are a community for growth and love. Remember to like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Now sit back, relax, and let's talk, sis. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Sis. This is your ultimate girl talk destination. We are the podcast creating space for our Black women to share their stories authentically and unapologetically. And you guys, I'm so excited for today's guest. She has graciously joined us today on this episode, Miss Lashae Simmons. How are you, girl?
I'm doing so good. Thanks for inviting me. Excuse my voice. I was at a basketball game last night, so I'm a little hoarse. But
No worries. Did
happy
your
to be
team
here.
win?
No, no.
Oh.
And it was the regional finals, and we got put out last night. So
Oh, well, you fought hard. That's all that
yeah,
matters.
yeah,
I'm reading your name and I'm just now noticing you're the second. Is
yeah,
that correct? Who are you named
yeah.
after?
My mom.
Oh wow, that's so cool. You usually don't see that on the women's side.
No, everyone always says that. They're like, what is this here for? I'm like, no, it's a real thing. Like, I really am named after somebody. And they're like, seriously? I'm like, no, entire name, same thing. Like, Junior.
Cool. I love that. I love that. And so I know you have, I believe, two beautiful children, correct? Did you?
Well, actually, three.
Oh, three kids. I'm sorry, I missed one. I was gonna ask if you continued the tradition with your kids.
No, so I thought about it. I actually was gonna name my daughter after me and my mom, but I
Mhm.
chose not to because um her brother, their dad, he had one last name, so I gave my son his last name, and then I didn't want my kids to have different last names, because that creates
Yeah.
a whole bunch of
Okay.
questions
Okay.
like,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay.
how does
Okay.
work? And so I
Right.
was
Right. Right.
like,
Right.
never mind. But she does have my her middle name is Lashae. So
Okay.
we
She's in
threw it
there
in there
somewhere.
somewhere. Yeah, yeah. We still got a little tinge.
Awesome. Well, that'll work. That'll work. She know who she belongs to. So
Okay.
that's all that matters. Well, awesome. So let's get into it. I'm going to get right into our first segment, which is called Show Off Sis. This is the opportunity where I get to tell our audience exactly who we're sitting with and read some of their accolades just so they know, the caliber of women that we're bringing around because we got credentials and things we've accomplished. So let's get into it. So, Lashae Simmons II is a well versed financial planner fighting to end entrepreneurial poverty and create prosperity in Muskegon County and surrounding areas. Lashae has become an asset to business owners and clients seeking opportunity for capital, exposure, and sustainability. Simmons founded Black Wall Street Muskegon, an organization dedicated to eliminating the racial wealth gap in Muskegon and surrounding areas by increasing the number and success rate of Black-owned businesses. Simmons' approach focuses on the creation of an incubator that provides brand growth, economic sustainability, and an increased lifespan of the African American dollar within the African American community. Through entrepreneurship, technical training, high exposure events, affordable marketing, and interactive social networking space, Lashae is also the CEO of Lush Estates, a short term rental company located in downtown Muskegon. And she holds a bachelor's degree in business administration, advertising, and promotion from Western Michigan University, as well as a Series 7 and 63 license. She's currently working she currently works with and has shared her expertise with various small and mid-sized business owners, including local Muskegon businesses such as Rad Dad, Forest Tax and Accounting Solutions, Forest Tax and Accounting Solutions Learning Group, and Roller Productions, and more. In addition to her work, Lashae is I believe I should say, first of the 16 Family Engagement Director of Muskegon Heights Academy, where she plays an instrumental role in bridging connections and fostering engagement in the educational journeys of family and youth. And Lashae's strong community connections with underserved populations, leadership skills, and ability to build long-lasting relationships naturally makes her a valuable resource to her community. In her spare time, she enjoys spending time outdoors with her children, Tristan, Camille, and Chase, as well as playing volleyball. And her favorite quote is, "When I stand before God at the end of my life, I would hope that I would not have a single bit of talent left and could say I used everything you gave me." Quoted by Chadwick Boseman. Welcome to the show.
Man, that was kind of long. Like,
yeah,
as I'm listening, I'm like, okay. All those things are true, though. All those things are true. I know, just towards the end, real quick, we got a little tripped up. It's actually the birth to 16 Family Engagement Director.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, not the first, I don't think, but maybe the first in my family. I don't know, but yeah, it is for birth to 16. So really focusing on equitable access to education from the womb. Like once you birth, making sure that milestones are being hit, making sure that resources are being offered to you, making sure that your environment does not indicate what your education level should be or will be. So yeah,
that is awesome. So when you hear all of that back, does it sound right? Does it sound like, dang, I did all of that? Or it's like, hold on, wait, something's actually missing. How does it sit with you when you hear back your bio?
It's a two-part, right? It's, dang, I'm doing all of that. And I did doing all
true.
of that still. And then, the other part is, but dang, there's still so much that's just not even on the paper because it would be so long, right?
Yeah.
Those things that we don't highlight, those, accolades that we're like, hey, okay, this is long enough. Let's just cut it right here. But nonetheless, I think the gist is received here.
Yeah.
We just want to do good work.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
And it's awesome. And I love that it's very community centered and very focused and strategic. And, that while you're doing multiple different things, there's a synergy about it. We spoke about this on the last episode. There's just kind of this synergy around supporting and uplifting the Black community.
Absolutely.
Financially speaking,
Yeah.
more specifically. So I love that. Congratulations and all the
Thank
work you
you.
do. That was a catalyst for me reaching out to have you on the podcast because I'm like, every time I see you posting, it's always if it's not family or a thought provoking question, it is some accolade, some business, something, a grand opening of something that Lashae's got her hand in. So happy to have you. So next, we're going to move on to our segment called Let's Talk Scent. And so, y'all know I love all things smell good, and aromatherapy is really powerful, and just your mood, your performance, and all the things. So, today, tell me what candle you got going on over there and give me a little bit about it or what you got.
So right now, this has been my candle choice. First of all, purple is my mom's favorite color. I was gonna give it to her as a gift.
Okay.
However, I changed my mind once I
The
smelled it.
first.
Yeah. I was gonna give it to what I call it when I don't say mom, I say Big Shay.
Okay.
So it definitely was something that I thought about giving her, but then I was like, girl, it smells too good. And it is a Mandarin grapefruit. So I am a sucker for like fruity smells. Either that or it's normally something like a eucalyptus, peppermint, you know.
Okay. Yep.
But for the most part, it's something that smells like food. Maybe I'm just a foodie. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Welcome. You're
so
welcome over here.
but yeah, so really nice candle. And this is actually the one that I keep in my room. I'll be transparent and say that I do not light candles as often because I'm also a person that lights a candle, then it's lit for the entire day, and I forget.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, I've wasted half of my candle.
Yeah.
So that is, normally a thing. But when I do get a chance to light it, it's during my reflection time, right? I'm cleaning, I'm relaxing, I'm sitting down, and I'm able to actually take it in. So
Yeah.
often I'm moving around. I don't get really
Yeah.
relaxed or just take it in. So
Yeah.
when I light that candle, 10 out of 10, I'm not going outside.
Okay, I feel you on that. I love that. You said it's a mandarin grapefruit scent.
Yeah,
Sounds like it smells really, really good.
it
These past
does.
few weeks, me and my guests have been coordinating with our scents because I have it. It doesn't specifically say, but it is a citrus lava citrus is what it says under there. So
See, look at
I'm
that.
sure it's got some lemons, oranges, and grapefruits and all of
Some
that
you
in
do.
there. Yes. And so those particular scents are really good for energizing, uplifting, and boost mood and cognitive function. So excellent for, like you said, those reflective times when you're cleaning or whatever you want to get into a good mood. So I love that. All right, y'all. Well, we're gonna keep this party going, and we are gonna move on to our next segment, and this is our icebreaker question. So this is just gonna be just something fun and light, nothing too serious, just so we can kind of get to know you a little bit outside of your professional side.
Okay.
So I know you're getting ready, you're going and you're doing all of these different things. Like you said, you don't sit down often, so different events and networking, et cetera, et cetera. So when you get dressed, is it the hair first or is it the makeup first?
It's the makeup first.
You do your makeup first.
I
Okay.
do. Yep.
Okay. I'm the same way. A lot of people do their hair first, but
Yeah.
I like to do my makeup so when it's done, I feel like it all comes together.
It all comes together. The hard part about doing my hair first for me, like, and it can go both ways, right? Like I'm
Mhm.
not good at really going around my edges. Like right now, my edges are not done. So if y'all are looking on this camera, they're not done. But if you do your edges, get your, little edge control. I'm not real good about going around. So
Mhm.
normally I like to just go ahead, do my makeup, do what I'm gonna do, wipe it off my edges, then boom, boom,
Yes.
and then I'm
Yes.
cool.
Same.
One thing I will say is sometimes though, depending on the style, it
Uh-huh.
is possible that like if you're straightening your hair or something, you get a little warm, so you can break a sweat. I get that.
Right.
So I do understand for some, but only time like I'm gonna do my hair first is if let's say I'm curling and I'm about to put some rollers in it that
In
can
it.
just
Yeah.
sit, and then
Mhm.
I do my makeup and then I unroll. But my hair is
Right.
normally the last reveal of my look.
Yes. Yes. I'm the same exact way. Yeah. And I don't do all that with my edges. I'll do a little swoop, and I'm done. Like I don't
I
have
I don't
the
either. I don't go far. It just be one stroke, two strokes.
okay.
My daughter, on the other hand, baby, she can lay some edges. I be like, mine don't do that.
It's
So,
definitely a skill.
yep.
It's
Nope.
definitely a
Not
skill.
I don't have that skill. Nope.
Okay.
Edges is not one. So
Okay, well, let's get into what you can do, friend. Let's get into it. Okay, that was a perfect segue. All right, so let's go. Let's talk, sis. So I asked you to fill out just a brief survey for me, just to know a little bit more about your business and your brand. And one of the words that you use to describe your brand is authenticity. So tell me why that was the word that you chose and why it's so important in what you do.
because I think that it allows people to really know you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I am all for being transparent. If you follow me on social media,
Yeah.
I make very honest posts. I ask
Mm-hmm.
honest questions. I share honest moments about my journey. Sometimes I
Yeah.
think we get so wrapped up in social media and what I call perpetration
Mm-hmm.
that we don't acknowledge the hardships. We don't acknowledge the real feelings. Like, sis,
Yeah.
I know there's times where you're like, I just don't feel like doing it. That doesn't mean
Mhm.
I won't do it. I just don't
Right.
feel like it. And people try to act like they always got the energy, that they are always on. And that's just not the case. I don't always have the energy. I'm not always on. Sometimes, sis, like if I have a weekend where I don't have to do anything, I'm not putting on any clothes.
Mhm.
I will stay in pajamas all day if I can because I don't get those moments a lot and it's easy to be burned out. So I just try to be my authentic self. And I think that people
Yeah.
really earnestly enjoy that more and they can relate to you a little bit more. I tell them stories about my, almost 15 and 16-year-old and now
Mhm.
having a 1-year-old as of Thursday. I tell them
Girl.
that, although I did not birth my 1-year-old, legally he's my foster son, but I don't like
Okay.
to call him that at all. So,
Okay.
my
I
baby,
was I was surely gonna say I totally missed the pregnancy pictures. I totally missed
yeah,
it, all
nah,
that, but that makes sense.
yeah, you weren't gonna see the
Okay.
pregnancy pictures. I made it very clear back in 2010. Never again.
I was
Lord willing,
like,
never again. But as soon as you tell God what you ain't gonna do, he come and just do what he want to do. So,
right, right.
it's funny. Me and my friends, we talk about that, and they're like, "You were so I ain't having no more kids." I said, "Well, I didn't have a baby, so I did not lie." And they was like, "Yeah." I said, "But it's funny how God works,
It
right?" He said,
is.
"Well, you
It
don't have
really
to
is.
birth one, but I'll give you one to take care of."
God really is like he plays a lot.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
plays a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. You big time, big time.
Yeah.
So that's why I chose that word authenticity because I feel
Yeah.
like if people know the real, it gives them a fair expectation of what they're gonna get themselves into versus like I said, when you go on social media, Instagram, you see all this stuff and then you get in it and you're ready to quit because your stuff is not moving how everybody else's is. But it's only because
Yeah.
they give you the glimpses and the highlights of the good.
So true.
I can give you the highlights and glimpses of it, but that isn't gonna,
That's not
give
everything.
you the insight to when you got more, expenses for your business than revenue coming in, or, like I said, when you're just tired, or when you're a community leader and somebody tries you and you really want to tell them the truth of how you feel and where you grew up at, but then you're like, ooh,
Write
I
it
am a
in.
changed person, right? So please stop
Right.
trying me. So, I just try to be honest with people because it's all things that people think and feel, but they're
Mhm.
too nervous to say. And so I've learned, I've been gifted with the skill to say it in a way that everyone can understand, but still allow it
Yeah.
to be, funny and professional. And that's
Absolutely.
really, the magic about it.
Yeah, and I think, you're touching on something that's super important to distinguish with authenticity because I feel like a lot of people might think that they're being authentic. And in their best efforts they are, but I think authenticity comes with transparency, which is
Mhm,
different than just honesty, right?
mhm,
Transparency is a forthcoming, a giving of without having to be asked, just like you said, knowing that there are other people who are going to relate, other people who are thinking it, probably aren't saying it, and I'm still going to share, right? Most people have to be asked in the comments or challenged on a post or, you know, confronted with something for them to then offer up this information. And
mhm.
so like you're saying, that is truly a magic to it of I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to share what's actually going on, and I'm gonna relate, and we're gonna connect, and you're gonna get to know me, and I'm gonna get to know you, and like you said, we can truly know, the kind of relationship that we're entering into. And so one of the many things that you have your hands in and are supporting, is Black Wall Street Muskegon. So tell us a little bit about that and why Muskegon was an important area for you to focus on.
Yeah, so I'm from Muskegon.
Hmm.
I moved away when I was 17 years old, and I told a story all the time. I had a 10-month-old and I was 7 months pregnant, right? Like going off to college in a city where I knew nobody.
Hmm.
I drove myself to the hospital to have my baby,
Ooh.
my daughter. And so,
Wow.
while I was there, I became a woman, right? I
Mm,
became grown. When I left, I was a child, but when I got
sure.
there and I experienced life, I became grown. And
Okay.
when you leave your mama house or your dad house or your parents' house, you think you grown.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
You really
that was
do.
my thought. Like I'm grown, I can do blah 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 blah. And
Absolutely.
so when I left, my perspective changed just about
Mhm.
life. I
Mhm.
began to understand some of the decisions that, individuals made and why and how they could even
Sure.
be put in a predicament to make a situation or that
A
decision.
situa Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yeah, and then
Mhm.
I met people. And when I met people, I learned things. People from all over the world were in college, and
Mm.
their upbringing was different. Some better, some worse, some different perspectives, whatever. And as I continued to grow and I began to get into my professional career, I noticed that being in the financial world,
Mhm.
I didn't see a lot of advisors that looked like me, which was young,
Absolutely.
black, and female.
Yep.
And
Correct.
so I'm like, okay, there's people that don't look like me. And then when I got to doing my research, I also noticed that about 85 to 90% of revenue generated for these companies did not come from people that looked like me.
Absolutely.
And they were telling me, like, hey, you want to work with business owners, you want to work with these people because they have the greatest need and they
Mhm.
generally have, increased
Mhm.
pockets of monies coming in. But then when I
Absolutely.
began to connect with these Black businesses, I began to realize that a lot of these businesses started out of necessity versus inheritance.
Sure.
And when they start out of necessity versus inheritance, they're normally starting off underwater.
Correct.
And when you start off underwater, you kind of get yourself deeper and deeper in a hole, but it's enough
You're
to get
always
you to build.
surviving.
You're always surviving, you're not thriving.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to work with these individuals to teach them how to transition that from surviving to thriving.
Mhm.
And transparently, again, transparent moment. I thought it was going to be a whole lot easier than what it was. And it wasn't,
Yeah.
because these individuals had children, they had businesses,
Mhm.
and the services that but was offering to them, it felt like a luxury, right?
Sure.
Versus something that they absolutely had to have as part of their business plan. And because we don't teach these things in finance, like retirement plans, health insurance, disability coverage, life insurance, etc., to them, they were like, oh, well, I can wait on that. And so I
Right.
began to get to the point where I started telling them, as a business owner, when you talk about creating a plan, a business plan, your financial snapshot should be in there. And when I say a financial snapshot, I'm not
Yeah.
just talking about what's coming in and what's going out. I'm talking about the financial snapshot of, if I pass away and I have these three children,
Right.
am I leaving them a liability or am I leaving them an asset?
Absolutely.
Right? And if right now I'm in the beginning stages of my business, it's probably a liability. So either A, they're going to take on debt, or B, they're going to inherit a business that,
They
again, is
don't know how to
still
run.
underwater. So they're trying to survive.
Mhm.
There's no
Mhm.
succession plan to it.
Mhm.
So just trying to put people in positions where if the what if happens,
Sure.
nobody has to wonder what to do.
Amen.
And so that's really how I got started with birthing Black Wall Street Muskegon. And there was a Black Wall Street Kalamazoo that existed already. So
Okay.
there's no need to do it in Kalamazoo. And I actually reached out to her and said, hey, because I'm fair, how would you feel if I were to do something, similar to this in Muskegon? She was
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't care, but because I knew of her already and
Right.
had established a relationship with her, I didn't want her to think that I was trying to step on her toes or
Sure.
anything like that. And she was like, I appreciate you actually even reaching out to me to just consider my mind, my
Mhm.
thought.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so, everybody doesn't do that. And basically, that's how it started, honestly. And I traveled and I just
Awesome.
noticed what other cities were doing. And I knew the
Mhm.
talent that was in Muskegon that just wasn't
Mhm.
being highlighted. Like 10 years ago, you get on Facebook, I would say like 5 to 10 years ago, you would get on Facebook and someone would be telling somebody else, like, hey, I need somebody to fix my brakes.
Mhm.
Hey, I got openings today to braid hair. And there
Mhm.
was no singular space
Right.
where
Where
they
you
could be
could
in
find.
one hub and say that and then allow other people to just come and comment and say, hey,
Mhm.
cool, you can braid
Mhm.
hair. Show me some pictures. Can I book?
Right.
Or
Right.
hey, I need my brakes done. Oh,
Mhm. Mhm.
somebody
Mhm.
recommended you. Do
Right.
you have
Easily.
time? So just trying to create that hub where we can be more intentional about, spending our dollars with one another as well. Because I can go somewhere else and spend my dollars. Now that you can do, but I am
Right.
intentional about spending with Black. And oddly enough, I'm out of the one candle. Since you mentioned the candle, there's Black owned candle line that I also shop from. I'm just out of them, and her candles are wow.
Wow.
Like she uses um like soy vegan products. They're bomb.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but that's basically how it came about. And yeah,
You mentioned when you started, you thought it would be easy, but it wasn't. Why did you think it would be easy, and what then were those challenges that you were faced with trying to undergird this community effort?
yeah. So I thought that it would be easy because I was doing something good. right?
Mm.
So
Mhm. Yeah.
what could be bad about doing something good?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
Right.
not the case.
Mhm.
It was
Mhm.
hard because, and again, I had to grow different
Mhm.
phase of myself, right? I was in a relationship at the time, and the guy that I was dating, he would often tell me like, "This is to be expected," but I was still young. I was
Yeah.
like 28 or so. And
Sure.
so I was like, and listen, I'm from Jackson Hill, so I still, like to nuck if you buck sometimes, and I had to like really get out of that. And
Yeah.
I was feeling attacks, attacks
Mhm.
from people that I felt should have been
Supportive.
mentoring, should have been
Mhm.
encouraging, and they weren't. And so that was hard for me because I couldn't understand why, you know, and I took it personal. I took it real
Yes.
personal, and it
Yes.
hurt my feelings, like I would lay
Mhm.
on his chest and be like, I don't get it. Like my feelings are hurt. I'm just trying to do good. There's so many other
Right.
things that I could be doing. I have children. I have a relationship at the time. I have my own things that I want to do, but this is what
Mhm.
outside of all the other things, this is what God put on my heart to do.
Right. And invest in.
And that was the hardest thing because I was like, I can't quit on it, because it wasn't me. This was something
Yeah.
outside of me. It was something greater than me. So that's what made it hard that I didn't feel like at a point in time people liked me, you
Mm.
know. But as time went on, I'll be completely transparent. I stopped caring
Yeah. Okay.
because what my charge was far greater than somebody liking me. It was far
Yeah.
greater than someone caring, or treating me kindly. My charge was to do what God called me to do. My
Period.
charge was to understand that even though they may not get it right now, at some point, they talk about spinning the block.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll spin the block and they'll understand. And that's what happened. And then, like I said, as I matured, I had to understand he just ain't gonna
It
like
is
you,
what it
girl.
is.
Like, get
Yeah.
over it. And sometimes
Yeah.
it's because you've said something off color. Sometimes it's
Sure.
because you made a face. And sometimes it's just because you breathing. And that's okay too.
And
You
that's
know?
sometimes all it is. Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
okay too. But in the beginning, no, that was hard for me. It was hard because, like
Yeah.
I said, I didn't understand.
Mhm.
And I still had a whole bunch of Jackson Hill in me that
Mhm.
was untamed.
Yeah.
Um, I could go from, "Hi, how are you? I'm Lashae," to, "Who you talking to?"
Okay.
Like that.
Immediately. Yeah.
And but I wanted to change that. I didn't want to be
Mhm.
known as that. So I worked diligently to
Yeah.
respond differently. It takes a lot to get me there. And so like if I go there, then I think I'll end up justifying it for myself. But I do my best to not go there
Sure.
ever if I,
Mhm.
can avoid it. But yeah, no, that's what was hard for me. Just not
Mhm.
having the support that I had hoped that I had because the
Mm.
young ladies that I come in contact with, all I ever want to do is give them the game so that if I do
Yeah.
steps like 1 through 12, they can do 13 through 21. They shouldn't have to start over at 1. What was the purpose of me working this
Doing any of
hard,
this.
beating the pavement like this for my daughter, for my
Yep.
nieces, for these young ladies that surround themselves around me to have to start at 1? Like, I don't stay up at night for my daughter to start at square one.
Yeah.
Now, if
Yeah.
she starts at square one, I'm telling y'all right now on this podcast, if she starts at square one, it's because she chose to.
It's her fault.
That's her prerogative.
Correct.
It ain't because
Correct.
I left her at square one.
Yeah.
So it's about understanding that and having, that type of heart. But it was hard. That's what made
Yeah.
it
And
hard.
I'm glad you shared that because, a lot of times we are challenged with these divine tasks, right? That if I woke up today and it were my choice, it would not be for me to be doing this. But
No.
Lord, you put this on my heart. So, and I'm very much so afraid of you, God. So I'm here. I'm going to do what you said, Lord. Like, okay, got it. Check. So I'm going to check in today, right? And it's important to note that even with the conviction of the Lord, you can be nervous, you can be a little afraid, you can be hurt, you're vulnerable still. You're still vulnerable because a lot of times from the outside looking in, we're walking into this thing confidently and passionately, and we know, like you said, it's a good thing. We're doing a really good thing. And so we're excited about it, but people don't see those moments when you are a little weaker because somebody made a comment or responded in a way or didn't respond in a way in which you expected, and
Mhm.
how you persevere through not having those people in your corner that you would think. And really, the real work is, like you're saying, shifting your mindset and your heart posture
Mhm.
to respond differently,
Yeah.
right? We've had people disappoint us before, and we maybe didn't respond in the best way, or the way we responded maybe didn't set us up for success. But it's really the maturity of, you know what, in this next season and what I have coming up, and the projects and the things that I'm working for, and the legacy I'm trying to leave, right? I have to shift. I have to adjust. And I can't let you knock me off my square because I am at step 12, right? And I can't let
Yeah.
you take me back to 6 or 7. Like, I don't have time for that. So, that's a real maturity, and just again being authentic, and for other business owners and people out there who are charged with these missions and these great passions in life,
Yeah.
when you feel a moment of weakness or uncertainty or vulnerability, it's not cue to just, okay, exit stage left and not do it no more. No, just stick in there. Really reconnect with the creator, the one that kind of gave you that vision, and lean on your support system and the people that you have, because not everybody's gonna get it. Not everybody's gonna come along and go and understand, the work that you're doing. So, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. And you hear individuals say all the time, they're not going to get the vision because the vision wasn't given to them.
Right.
And you touched on a key word that I think everyone has to look at. And that was being vulnerable, right? And when you put yourself out there to do
Yeah.
God's work, you are vulnerable. And one of the Bible scriptures that, I really, really lean into
Mhm.
is Ephesians 6 and 10 through about 18.
Okay.
And it talks about putting on the full armor of God, right?
Amen.
Because when you go out into these spaces and you're vulnerable, you show your real heart, okay? And you have to trust that when you put on the armor of God and people attack you, that
Yeah.
he'll protect you, right? Like I've come into many situations where I take my breastplate off. Don't get me
Mm.
wrong. I've also come into situations where I'm punching and kicking.
Yep.
But I try to enter into far less of those.
Sure.
And
Of
so
course.
when I take my breastplate off and I'm vulnerable and I'm open, it's all I'm doing is trusting God to be my protection
Yeah.
from the things that are going to attack me.
Yeah.
Now, at 32,
Mhm.
I know the attack is coming, right?
Mhm.
I'm familiar with the attack, but I trust God enough to know that that battle is not mine and
Period.
it isn't for me to get active with. When He
Right.
tells me to get active, I'll get active. But
Period.
until then, I'm not
No.
going to get active into a battle. I'm going to have to let you fight that one on your own.
And isn't there such a peace in that knowing, or in that space? Because it's like before, you take off that breastplate and you still trying to do the fighting, right? But you getting attacked. You're unprotected. You're still going to be hurt because,
Yeah.
hello, you've been vulnerable. You taking it off. It's not for you to, to come up against, or to fight, or be still, and he will do what he does every single time.
And that's not easy. It
And
is
it's
not
not
easy to be
easy.
still. It is not
Mhm.
easy to not defend your character, your
Correct.
name, or, it's just not. And so when you
Mhm.
have to sit there and you have to eat it, especially when you come from a life where that is not the
The
standard,
norm. Yeah.
or the norm,
Yep.
but you just got to sit back and eat it.
Yep. Yep.
But
Just
let
eat
me tell
differently.
you, as many times as I've had to sit back and eat it, if I were to compare the two, sitting back and taking it versus going head to head and knuckling up,
Yes.
I lost far more when I knuckled up.
Yes. Every single
You
time.
know what I'm saying? Because I'm shook now. I'm shaking. I'm out of my
Yes.
zone. I'm mad. I'm
Yes.
angry. I got all these emotions
Yes. You
that
better preach.
they stifle.
Yes. Yes, they do.
because that's all I can think about.
And they change you in a
They
way
change.
that is not by design. You become
Yeah,
a person that
that I
God
don't
did
want to
not
be.
call you, that you don't want to be, but that
I
God didn't
don't.
call you to be. He didn't call you to go in there fighting and acting a fool and knucking up and, challenging this and that, because it does change you. It takes you away, it takes your focus off of him, because
Yeah,
now you're the one trying to solve the problems and figure the things out and defend yourself, like you're saying, as opposed to letting him work.
yeah.
Hands up.
You have to. And like I said, I lost far more by knuckling up than just saying it'll be taken care of.
It'll be
I'm gonna sit
handled.
through some back. And like I said, it's hard when just aren't able to defend your character, or,
Yeah.
someone misinterprets, but yeah. I'll tell you this, I've never been forsaken though. So I
Amen.
don't know. We ain't even gotta go there, but I'm just letting
Okay.
you know, like, listen,
Yeah.
it works. It
Shout
works.
out to the big God.
You hear me? They say the
um
goat.
okay, right. So you have really niched your focus in who you're working with, right? And support, not to say only, but you're really intentional about supporting and doing work within the Black community. How has that served you in your career?
Served me.
Mhm.
Um, I I guess I've never thought about how it served me. Here's what I'll say.
And I
The
guess
relationship.
yeah, before you answer, I want to I guess give some context, because you have, and maybe this is kind of what you were alluding to about people not supporting you. You oftentimes have people who are like, well, why is it just Black women? For example, with my podcast, why is it just the Black community? Why can't they just, there are these other programs and there's this and that and this and that out there already. Why does it have to be so niched? Why do you intentionally have to say Black Wall Street Muskegon? And so I just kind of want to speak to that a
Oh
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah. You know, I am unapologetically Black,
Okay.
for Black women, men, children, and people, humans, all of the
Okay.
above. And that does not make me any less for others. What
Right.
I know is that we have been done an injustice for years, decades, and centuries, right?
Okay.
All of the above.
Right.
So, as far as I'm concerned, I honestly can't even answer that question because nobody's ever even approached me with that.
Okay. Well,
And
that's
the reason
good.
why is because they know.
They
And
already
I
know
just
what time it
leaned
is.
forward and I just leaned in for that one.
She got the hands on the hips. That, what do you say,
And I
Jackson?
do
Jackson
because
Hill. Where is it?
every time and anytime, if ever that becomes a question, I'ma lean forward and say, because every time we do anything, it somehow becomes ghetto when we do it, not right when we do it. But if you throw it over here, it's trendy. If you put it over there, it's innovative.
Mm-hmm.
No. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that one. Because ain't nobody ever came to me with that one. Because they already know. Like the kids say, don't make me sit up. Okay? Don't make me sit up. But no, to answer your question in a different way though, a little
Yes.
less
Uh,
aggressive.
hey, I love it. I'm here for it. Catch.
um how it's like helped me overall, it's just the relationships that I've been able to build.
Yeah.
Being able to, people don't realize how cool it is to be able to pick up the phone and call somebody and they answer because it's you,
Yeah.
right?
It
Like
is.
that humbles me
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I know that people be tired. And so when they pick up the phone because it's you, when they
Yeah.
go out their way because it's you, that
Right.
means something. I
Mm-hmm.
cherish that. And
Absolutely.
and just the same, because of the relationships that I've built, some individuals can call me and they
Mm-hmm.
know that I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to pick up the phone for them. They
Mm-hmm.
know that
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do because they just simply ask. And I pride myself on doing just because someone asks.
Yeah.
So if you approach me as a Black woman and you say, hey, I want you to do this for me, as long as there's no conflict in my schedule,
Yeah.
And what you're doing is not against,
Sure.
my beliefs, my morals, and it's something positive, I
Mhm.
won't tell you no.
Yeah.
I won't tell you no, never. Because I know what it's like to have to make a cold call and
Mm.
say, hey,
Yeah. You don't know
you
me,
want what I got?
but I need you.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
so instead of being a person that's so up here, don't get me wrong, everybody can't have access to you, right? But there's
Right. Right.
levels to it. Everyone
Mhm.
shouldn't have access to you. But in this situation, in this space,
Mm.
if anybody called me, and they don't even have to be black, white, Hispanic, and they're for the good and they're for the betterment of people,
Right, 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 right. You
I'm gonna
down.
say yes.
You down.
So just the relationships, like I said, being able to call somebody that others may be like, oh, when I call, they don't answer. Oh, let me call. Or another, like this is just a flex for me in general.
Yeah.
My children walk around, we moved back to Muskegon a couple years ago. My children walk around and someone comes up to them and say, you're Lashae's daughter or you're Lashae's son. And they're like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, okay. I know you come from good stock. And they'll give
Yeah.
them an opportunity because of that.
Yeah.
And who
That's
else am I
big.
doing this for if not to open
Yeah.
doors for
That's
them?
huge.
You
Yep.
know, people talk about nepotism all the time. And
Give me some.
I
I'll take it. That's what
I
they've been doing
what?
for a very long time.
What?
That's what they've been doing for a
But is
very
that
long
not what
time.
we work for?
That's
If you want to
exactly
put a
what it's
word on it, then
for.
you put a word on it. I mean, that's your
Yes.
business. But
That's exactly
is
what
that
it's
not what
for.
we work for? Is it? Like I said, I don't beat the pavement for
Exactly.
nothing. My beating the pavement really ain't even for me.
At all. Mhm.
Like
If you wanna
whatever
really
I'm
know.
gonna get, whatever I'm gonna get, I'm getting it right now,
Mhm.
during,
Mhm.
in the moment. But
Mhm.
really, all this beating the pavement is to make life easier for mine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And others, not just mine, but mine and others, their friends, and I teach them about having good character so
Mhm.
that, if my name gets you in the door, it's your character that allows you to stay.
To say in there.
But
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm. I
so
love it.
that's how I feel about it.
I love both answers. I love both answers. So
I had to lean forward. What?
what right wait, what are you talking about? Okay, so before we wrap, tell us a little bit about the Black Women of Color Brunch, the Black Business Expo, any other projects you have coming up, and what, guests can expect from you and where we can support and all the good things.
Yeah. So, the brunch, the Business Women of Color brunch. It's a themed brunch, and I actually started it 2 years ago. And honestly, that was a time that I was going through a breakup, after being in a serious relationship. And I just felt like I was everything to everybody,
Mhm.
my children, my partner. And they may have a different opinion, first of all, but this is
Of
my
course.
this is my
This is your
perspective.
story,
This
okay?
is my story, okay? But I was tired, I was
Yeah.
tired. And, having businesses and running them and being so heavily involved in them and being in the community, you're pulled on and, you just have all these things. And I just wanted a moment to relax,
And hang out.
hang out, have a
Yeah, I love
mimosa
that.
with my girls. And I
Yeah.
wanted to grow and not just grow like we just talking about it. I wanted to grow like, hey, sis, while I was in this relationship, here's what I learned about myself. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Here's where I could have done better.
I love that.
Here's some things that I accepted that weren't great. But,
Okay.
at the same time, as a woman,
Yeah.
sometimes sis, we be thinking we don't be doing nothing, right? Like,
I'm
but our
perfect.
moms be so slick.
I'm pretty sure I'm perfect.
You feel
I'm
me?
not the
Yes.
problem.
And I'm a Virgo, so I really got that perfect thing real
Oh
good,
yeah, you do. You do.
And so
Right, right,
so,
right, right.
but I just wanted to relax. And so the theme of it is overall bloom, right?
Okay.
And so you
That's
go through
beautiful.
these stages. So the first was bloom, just to give everybody an overview of what it is. And when
Okay.
you go through the stages of growth as a plant, when you go through these stages, you start off with planting that seed.
Sure.
Um, and when you plant that seed, it's because you have a vision,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
you have a vision or insight for where you want to go. I feel like
Mhm.
my camera just popped off. Can you still see me? Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
So when you go through this phase, right? You start off with planting the seed. Once you plant the seed, it's because you have a vision for growth. You're digging
Right.
deep though in order to plant it, right? Like I'm not gonna
Right.
put my seed on shallow soil. I got to
Sure.
dig deep. And in order to
Absolutely.
dig deep, I begin to find roots.
Yep.
Some of those
Taking
roots I
stuff
have to
out.
break. You get what I'm saying? And so when I have to break those roots, I'm breaking up those childhood traumas. I'm
Mhm.
breaking up what I thought was
Sure.
supposed to be. I'm breaking up these expectations of what I thought a man's supposed to be, what I thought, any of these things are supposed to be, what
Yeah.
a parent, a father, a mother,
Mindset.
you know,
Yeah. A mindset change.
a mindset. I'm unlearning some things to learn some
Yeah.
things,
I
right?
mean.
To
Mhm.
to to really grow this fertile soil. So that's the first part of planting the seed.
Uh-huh.
Then, the second part, which is where we're at right now, right? On year 3, and that's germination, which is growth. You
Okay.
start to see growth. It's new growth, no different than your hair has new growth, no different than, the plant has some new growth. And so that's where we are in this phase. And so I won't go too far into it, but that's where
Yeah.
we are in this phase of life. We are in new growth.
I
And
love that.
that new growth then transitions into sprouting. And that sprouting becomes now you begin to see the fruits of your labor. You should be
Mhm.
bearing a fruitful tree.
Yeah.
It ain't full yet, right? Like the fruit ain't all there,
Yep. 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 Not
but
yet.
it's coming.
It's
And so
coming.
now I'm just starting to, when we're growing, we're building new roots on clean soil, good
Mhm.
soil,
Mhm. Mhm.
fertilized soil. And if I can do that, I can then spread it to others.
Mhm.
Because just like if you've seen those videos, like you get a strawberry that's rotten and you put it next to another strawberry,
Yep.
it begins to taint that. But what if
Absolutely.
I put my fertile soil
Sure.
next to somebody and I began to put my growth next to somebody? Maybe does
Mhm.
that do the same thing when I lean on them?
Yep.
Does that same thing ferment to them as well? And it
Pollinate them
does.
as well.
And
Mhm.
so at this brunch, we have over 150 women that show up,
Wow.
and they show
That's
up in these
incredible.
seats, and they're not just businesswomen, they're business professionals, they're mental health professionals. They are women of color, Black and brown women that are
Yeah.
intentional about not only their growth, but the growth of women as a whole. We talk about relational and marital growth. We talk about spiritual growth and mental, just all of the things. And so that's the
It's
brunch, right? Like
beautiful.
without giving too much. That's
Yeah.
the brunch. And we're sold out. And this is a sellout event every year. And every year there's somebody that hits me up and they're like, sis, I need a
I
ticket.
need a ticket.
And it gets to the point where I'm just like, sis, just come
Good.
on. Just come
Yeah.
on, because this growth isn't just for me. As I'm growing, like I said, that transparent part, as I'm growing, I
Yeah.
share that information. And like I said, I ain't telling you that I'm doing it all right. I'm just telling you that I'm doing it. Okay.
That it's getting
And
done,
so
period.
it's in there. We in there. We switching it around, trying to figure it out. So that's the brunch. It's just a place for women to relax, be refreshed, be rejuvenated, hear from other women that's going through some of the same things,
Yeah.
and how they overcame it. And to give my sister a hug.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I need a hug, and if you hold me too long, I might cry. And that's okay.
Uh-oh.
You know?
Okay. Very
And
much
and
possible.
that's why I say it's okay.
Mhm.
And we have young women that we, donate a little scholarship to for them to. Last year we did it for some young folks to take a trip to Africa. They were already going to Africa,
That's
but
awesome.
we wanted to give them some spending money. So we did an on the spot fundraiser to provide them some
Wow.
funds on the spot. And then the Black Business Expo, this is the staple event of Black Wall Street Muskegon. We have over
Okay.
80 businesses that come together and they sell product. And when we get these Black businesses, I talk to them real. I'm like, listen, we
Mhm.
here to make money. You hear me?
Period. Period. Period.
So I'm all about them making money. Whatever I can
Yeah.
do to put them in the light to make money, that's what I'm about. And that's
Yeah.
what we are about. And I walk up to them all the time at the expo, and I stop at their booth and I'm like, are we making money? And if somebody
Mhm.
tells me they're not making money, we
You
hop
got to
on the
do
mic
something.
real quick. Hey, I need y'all to slide over here to this person because they have this. And
Love
because
that.
that's what this
Yeah.
is
That's why
about.
they're there.
That's why
Awesome.
they're there. And I think that's why we have the turnout that we have, because we genuinely want them to win, want them
Yes.
to be exposed, want them to show what they got, like top tier.
Period.
Show what you can do. This
Mhm.
is the opportunity for you to flex, and
Yeah.
don't be shy about it. Be
And
proud of what you do. Be confident in what you do.
no need to be humble.
No, not right now.
Love it. I love that.
So yeah, that's that. And lately, when you said what I have coming up, as I briefly mentioned, I do have a foster son that I don't like calling a foster son. He's actually
Yeah.
family, so he's
Yeah.
my nephew. But when he came to us, he was 4 months old, and like I said on Thursday, yesterday, he turned one.
Happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday, Chase. And we're having his birthday party tomorrow, and it's crazy extravagant because I just don't know how to do anything less.
Yes.
And so now I'm getting into advocacy for um foster care, not just for the children, but for the parents, because there are parents in
Yeah.
spaces that maybe simply made a mistake. There are parents in places that shouldn't have their children, but
Yep.
a lot of times it's that, they made a mistake. And
Yeah.
what I notice is that Black and brown households in this system, they don't have advocates, and maybe because they're not able to articulate the same as others,
Other.
they don't have
Yeah.
people fighting for them how others have folks fighting for them. So
Hmm.
really trying to step into the light of that to advocate for children, to
Yeah.
advocate for parents. If you're doing the right thing and if you're going to continue to do the right thing, you deserve to have your child. And on the other side, if you're not
Hmm.
doing the right thing, if you are going to be abusive, if you're not going to
Yeah.
treat that child properly, then
Yeah.
they deserve to be in a safe and caring home and environment. So
Absolutely.
either way you want it to go, it can go. But I'm going to advocate on both ends.
I love that.
Um, so yeah,
Awesome.
that's
Well,
what's.
thank you so much, Lashae. I think that all that you have going on is awesome. And where's the best way to find you, or best platform to find you for people who want to stay connected in the loop of all things Black Wall Street Muskegon?
So you can definitely follow our website, which is blackwallstreet231.org. You can follow our social media handles, all the same name, Black Wall Street Muskegon, Facebook. Yes, we have Instagram, and we're working on getting a social media director because, listen,
Hmm.
Sis is 32 now, so I'm really Facebook oriented. I'm sorry. I really want to do better with Twitter and everything else. Just not there yet, but we do have
Yeah.
an Instagram page. But Facebook is where you'll probably find the most
Okay.
updates. And so Black Wall Street Muskegon, we also have a private group. That private group is specifically for Black and brown individuals so that we can make sure that we're really, really highlighting them. The website is for the mass public so that they can see what's going
Okay.
on. So website, Facebook, my personal page, really, you can find a lot of information out about me there too, because like I said, I'm very transparent on there. And my Facebook is my real name, Lashae Simmons II.
There
Don't
you
forget
go.
the second.
Don't
Um,
forget it.
yeah, so I try to be accessible in the ways that I can, but yeah,
Awesome.
Facebook is probably where you're gonna find me the most, honestly speaking. So
Cool. Well, y'all know where to find her. Hit your girl up. Oh, I almost forgot. Okay, before we go, Lashae, I'd
yeah.
like to challenge the audience with one thing to have a conversation about within their own community. So, what do you want to give them to challenge them? Whether it's about, financial literacy, wealth, business building, advocacy for foster care. We talked about a lot of different things today. What conversation challenge do you want to give to our audience?
Honestly, I want to challenge them to something personal. What
Okay,
is your why? You
there
know?
we go.
Why do you do what you do? Why do you get up every day? Why do you get up every day and be tired? What is your why? Because if you figure out your why, even when you don't want to do it, you'll still do it because you know your why. And so
Yes.
that's what I challenge individuals to find and search within. Figure out your why. And then when you do find your why, ask yourself why about four more times so you can get to the real root of your why.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's real easy to be like, well, I do it because of this. Well, why do I do it because of this? So just kind of dig deep to figure out why you are who you are. And if you don't like what you come up with, then change it.
Period. Period. All
Yep.
right, y'all. You got your challenge. You know what to do. Let us know how it goes. Leave us a comment, leave us a DM or something just to let us know what you figured out as far as your why. Thank you so much, Lashae, for spending time with us today. And as always, y'all, please remember to like and subscribe to the podcast. I appreciate y'all for listening, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Thanks for having me. Bye.